In this video, you guys are going to learn how to play the Alien Gambit with the white pieces, which is considered one of the best weapons to play against the Karukan defense. So this opening was invented by a chess content creator on YouTube. His channel name is Witty Alien. So yeah, this opening is going to be the best for beginners. So if you are a beginner, you are going to have some crazy fun, aggressive stuff. So let's check it out. So we are playing with white and we start with 1 e4, black plays c6, d4, d5. We have the Karukan and we play the move knight to d2. So here, after knight to d2, black takes the pawn, white recaptures the pawn, and now black plays knight to f6, which is the standard way to play. And now we are going to play the move knight to g5. Not going for capturing up the knight, but playing the move knight to g5. Can you believe it? So what is the idea of knight g5? Let me tell you the idea. The idea is to simply sacrifice the knight on f7. That's it. So here the main move that we are going to focus on is the move h6. How to respond with h6. Attacking the knight, we capture the pawn on f7. Black captures it back with the king, and now the intentions are pretty clear. We have sacrificed a piece. The bar shows it's completely winning for black, but black is going to suffer. How to continue the position? We first develop the knight at the place of developing the bishop. We are keeping the bishop move in reserve. We are not kind of sure where the bishop goes. Maybe the bishop can go to d3 or maybe on c4. But the knight goes on f3, that's pretty sure. What is the idea? We get the bishop out, we give a check, we castle shot, we get the queen in, and we try to checkmate the black king. This is the complete idea. So after knight to f3, there are already couple of moves in the position. So okay, let me just name them: bishop g4, bishop f5, e6, knight to d7, and c5. So there are kind of 5 moves in the position. First, talking with bishop g4, it's completely losing, and it is the most common move. Knight e5 check, and that's simple. You win a piece. You win a piece, but not only a piece, but your opponent's king is weak. You are a pawn up with a completely winning position. So going back, bishop g4 is already a blunder, which is actually surprisingly the most common move played in the past. If coming to the bishop f5, we give a check. Once again, keeping the bishop check in reserve. And now the king is already having two ways, king g8 or king e8. First, talking about king e8, we play the move g4, attacking the bishop goes back, and now bishop to c4. What is the idea? To checkmate the black king on e8 via bishop f7, that's mate. So for example, if black plays bishop g8, trying to defend it, f7 square, queen d3, and now queen to g6 is coming, and I don't see a good way for black to defend it. I think the game is kind of over. Obviously the engine shows it's minus 0.39, but bro, we have sacrificed a piece, and we are going to play against humans, not the engines. So believe me, it's like queen g6 is already winning. So going back a bit, if knight to d5, stopping the spin, now queen f3, once again checkmating on one move. Bishop goes back, but now bishop d3. And you won't believe it, but bishop g6, once again, unstoppable, and that's it. The game is over, completely winning for white. So going back, that's why king 8 is already a bad way. If king to g8, we give a check, now getting the bishop out. Black tries to push the pawn, but now once again g4. Now the pawn is already protected by the knight and the queen, so the bishop has to move. And now we give a check, the king goes over here, and now g5. What a move. So basically, first of all, if black captures the pawn, knight f7, we are attacking the queen, we are going to capture the pawn, getting this king out, getting the rook into the game, and the game is over for black, believe me. So if black goes for capturing the rook, it's one move made. And if this happens in your game, you have to tell me in the comments. Okay, it's a mate, that's it, the game is over. So that's exactly what happens if black plays bishop to f5. So we have covered both the moves, bishop f5 and bishop g4. Coming to the third move, e6. So first of all, it doesn't matter if black plays e6 on knight d7, because both the moves are going to lead to the same position. What is the idea of e6? Let me tell you. So basically the idea here is black wants to develop the bishop, black wants to develop the knight, he wants to get the rook in, and he simply wants to save his king by putting the king on g8. So basically doing an artificial castle, and that's how he's planning to continue the game, which is actually pretty effective. So here, now we are going to put the bishop on d3 at the place of c4. You see, there is always an option. So if the bishop goes out to f5 or g4, we get the knight out. If black pushes the pawn, we get the bishop out to d3. Black plays knight to d7. As I said, knight d7, e6, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's the same thing. We castle up, bishop to d6, rook to e1. As I said, develop the bishop, castle up, put the rook on e1. Black plays rook to f8, and now knight to e5 check. And now this is the main position. Knight to e5 check. I have considered 3 moves in the position: king g8, bishop takes, and knight takes. So first of all, if black captures with the knight, after g takes, 2 pieces are hanging, and we are already regaining the piece with a completely better position because black's king is extremely weak. So capturing with the knight is already a bad idea. If black goes for capturing with the bishop, we capture with the pawn, attacking the knight move, we give a check, the king is forced to go back, and now here comes bishop into h6, boom. What is the idea? If black captures the bishop, check, and that's a mate. And just hypothetically speaking, even if this idea is not coming in, we have this idea, getting the rook into the game, and due to black's very weak king in the position, it's already game over for black. So that's the whole idea if black plays the move e6. Now discussing another way to play, for example, after knight e5 check, if black plays the move king to g8, pulling the king back. After king g8, now we are going to play the move queen f3. What is the idea? Once again, the complete idea here is to get maximum pieces near the king and try to attack it. So basically now there are multiple ideas for white. White can move the queen over here with the idea of capturing the pawn, and that's how we play it. That's how we really play it if the opponent plays the move e6. Now going back a bit, how to play if your opponent plays the move c5, which is a very interesting way. Black wants to open up the position, trade off the queens, and black is a piece up. That's it. After c5, we are going to play the move c3, protecting the pawn because the center needs to be protected. Black takes, and now we can actually, at the place of recapturing the pawn, we can develop the bishop. Because for example, if black captures the pawn, bishop check, and we can capture the queen, and it's game over. So that is why black can play knight to c6, developing the knight. We can castle up, black can develop the bishop, and now definitely the bar shows it's -2, we give a check. And if your opponent plays the move bishop e6, I believe your opponent is kind of well prepared. He has lost in the past with this particular same opening, so he must have prepared against it, and that's why he's able to play so accurately, or else there is no possibility of playing him so good. So yeah, so I have taken a move like e6 that looks kind of natural. We capture the pawn, giving a check, and also attacking the knight. The knight goes back, we give a check, we capture the bishop, and now we pull off the queen, attacking the knight. If the knight goes back, queen into e6, and that's a mate, because the bishop covers the h7 square, and that's like there is no route for the king to escape, and that's game over. So that's exactly how we are going to play if the opponent is going to play the move e6 and eventually c5. So you see how we played, and now that's exactly what happens if the opponent plays the move h6 over here. Assuming if your opponent doesn't play h6 and he plays something else like bishop to f5 maybe, developing the bishop, ignoring the threat of knight f7. Now definitely capturing the pawn is bad because we have not even provoked black to play the move h6. So after bishop f5, we are going to play the move knight to f3, simply developing the knight. And if the opponent plays the move h6, we are happy to take on f7 with the same idea. You see, the bishop have been developed, so we first give a check, get the bishop to c4. This is the principle that we have talked about. Okay, so after knight to f3, if the opponent plays e6 at the place of h6, simply the idea is to simply get the next bishop out and castle up. You don't believe it, but knight e5, and that's already winning for white. We attack the f7 pawn, and there is no way for no good way for black to defend it. If the bishop pulls the bishop back to defend the pawn, we play the move bishop. We want to trade off the bishop so that we can attack the pawn on f7. And now black is having two options. Black can either go for capturing the bishop, or black can go for capturing the pawn with the queen. So if black goes for capturing the pawn with the queen, we capture the bishop with the knight. Pawn takes, and now here comes knight into f7. Boom. If the king captures the knight, bishop g6, and you won't believe it, but the game is over. We capture the queen on the next move, and that's winning for us. Instead, if black goes for capturing the bishop, we capture with the queen, and once again, you can't stop the thread on f7, and white is completely winning. As the bar says, +3, that's game over. So that's exactly what happens if your opponent plays e6. And yeah, that's how the game goes. That's how the game goes. If the opponent plays something like knight g7, even stopping the move knight e5, you can play the move bishop c4 maybe, or even bishop d3, just trading off the bishop, have a simple game of chess, and that's how the thing goes. So you see how this particular Alien Gambit created by Witty Alien is such an aggressive weapon. If you are able to use it by 100% capacity, and if you have mastered all the lines and the material that I have shown you in the video, I believe you can easily increase your rating points against the Caro-Kann defense. If your opponent plays Caro-Kann, you must be feeling so super happy now that, wow, now you are literally going to win the game. That's it. So yeah, that's it for this video. So I hope that this video was knowledgeable to you guys. If it was, then make sure to like and subscribe. You guys can tell me in the comments below on which particular topic you want the video next, and I'm going to come up with that particular video on. So thank you for watching. I'm going to see you soon. So till then, stay tuned and keep watching OneShot Chess. Bye bye.